Chapter 392, Listening to Little Sun's Story. Derek was originally anxious to ask about the fallen creator, but when he heard the hanged man's question, he answered honestly, "He's dead." "He's dead, Justice," the hanged man and the magician expressed their surprise at the same time. They really didn't expect this turn of events. After all, the former captain of the exploratory team had been locked up for decades without any problems. Who would have thought that he would die right after they discussed about him? At this moment, aside from Mr. Fool, only the gloomy and reserved the world maintained his original state. Derek nodded and said, "Yes. After I returned to the City of Silver, I wanted to glean more information from the former captain using Mr. Hanged Man's suggestions, but he suddenly appeared behind me, asking me if I was looking for him." Upon hearing this, Audrey suddenly drew a short breath. Although the son obviously lacked the ability to tell a good story, his simple descriptions still gave her the feeling of reading horror novels late into the night. It was as if someone was standing behind her, also asking, "Are you looking for me?" Fours was as frightened as she was excited, having found the feeling she had as a child listening to her mother's recount of a ghost story. Despite covering her ears in fear, it felt like someone had possessed her and pried open the gaps between her fingers, allowing the voice to be transmitted into her brain. This passage can be written into a novel. As a best-selling writer, she had outstanding professional instincts. Alger, being experienced and knowledgeable, subconsciously asked, "Doesn't your City of Silver's dungeon have seals targeting rampagers? Is there no barrier between them? I remember that last time you said that there was a very powerful and mysterious item at the core." "Yes, but I don't know how or why he came to my room. He had completely lost control of himself. His head had split open in the middle, and fluid kept flowing out. There were many cracks on his body, and each crack was a mouth," Derek said, describing the scene in passing. "Then how did you survive? How did you escape from its jaws?" Force felt immersed, and it was also a question which Audrey was concerned about. Alger's reaction was very different from theirs. He thoughtfully murmured, "It doesn't make sense to put you, a person who only shows signs of losing control, next to such a dangerous fellow. From the looks of it, the upper echelons of your City of Silver, the members of the six-member council, deliberately made you interact with him, hoping to gather useful information from him and observe any corresponding changes. So, which elder saved you?" Derek's mouth gaped a little, feeling as if Mr. Hanged Man had personally seen and heard everything that had happened. Just based on the situation I described, he was able to guess the truth. How amazing. Derek answered with admiration. "Yes, just as you said, the chief appeared just in time and used the mystical item to deal with the rampager." Noticing the respect and admiration from the son, Alger let out a chuckle. "It's quite an obvious case. As long as one is experienced enough, you'll easily be able to notice this." "I didn't think of it." Audrey muttered to herself, somewhat depressed. "I couldn't tell." Fours ran her hand through her hair, ashamed. "I didn't think in that direction." The world repeated Mr. Fool's sigh. After saying that, Alger frowned slightly and slowly asked, "You said that not long after you returned, the former captain of the exploratory team lost control. He didn't lose control for decades, but he suddenly lost control after you returned." At the same time, Mr. Hanged Man raised his head and looked at Mr. Fool. Seeing that Mr. Fool was very calm and without any hint of abnormalities, his mood immediately eased. All the uneasiness he had just now turned into questions. The Ammon family is known as blasphemers. Could it be that that person discovered the Tarot Club and the secret above the gray fog, but he was easily finished off by Mr. Fool? Derek nodded seriously and said, "I guessed 2 reasons. One was because I chose the sun pathway, and you said that the Ammon family was the descendant of an ancient sun god. The other reason is that he noticed that Mr. Fool was pulling me in to attend the gathering, so changes happened to him, and it was proven to be the latter." "How was it proven?" Alger pressed, leaving no stone unturned. "Someone sensed that Mr. Fool was pulling him in to attend the gathering. Someone can really detect it. How terrifying, as expected of a blasphemer." Audrey was astonished and shocked. She couldn't help but glance at the end of the long bronze table. and she was immediately comforted by Mr. Fool's calm and indifferent attitude. It's just a trivial matter. To Mr. Fool, it's just a trivial matter. Audrey thought with joy and relief. So it turns out that someone is able to discover the Tarot Club's gathering. As expected, with so many pathways and so many sequences, there would always be a beyonder power that can detect this. But for me right now, this is a very bad thing. I'm still too weak. I have to advance my sequence as soon as possible. Fours was momentarily surprised and frightened. Derek truthfully described the events. I saw Ammon's shadow when the Rampager was finished off by the chief. It should be him. This is what he looks like. With the approval of Mr. Fool, Derek conjured a light screen depicting Ammon. A black classic robe, a matching pointed hat, a crystal monocle, a broad forehead, a thin face, black eyes, black curly hair. Have any of you seen him before? Derek asked hopefully. The Hanged Man, Justice, the Magician, and the world shook their heads in unison. Without harping on the matter, Derek continued. Ammon's shadow was eliminated by the chief with the help of the mystical item, leaving being a translucent worm. The chief told me that it was only an avatar of Ammon. He explained to me the reason for arranging it so I lived beside him. After confirming that I was fine, he allowed me to return home. I was a little afraid, unaware of any subsequent actions Ammon might take. Therefore, the moment I reached home, I prayed to Mr. Fool. Wait, Alger interrupted the son with a frown. You said that you just experienced such a strange and terrifying incident, and the chief let you go home just like that. And the moment you returned home, you didn't do anything but first pray to Mr. Fool. Yes, Derek answered blankly. What's wrong with that? He found Mr. Hanged Man's attitude rather odd. Audrey vaguely felt that what the son had done wasn't right, but she couldn't immediately figure out what was wrong. She just believed that if she were in his shoes, she definitely wouldn't have done that. But at that very moment, Fours had already covered her face. Too careless. I was like that in the past, and the price of that was to use up a stone on my bracelet and start bearing the curse of the full moon. The best-selling writer sighed in her heart. Alger glanced at Mr. Fool again. Seeing that he remained indifferent, he forced himself to relax. He held his fist against his nose and said, after having such an interaction with that strange Ammon, do you think the chief will just do a cursory inspection and be completely reassured about you? If that's really the case, that former captain of the exploratory team wouldn't have been imprisoned for 42 years. In my experience, the chief has definitely sent someone to secretly monitor you, and you've undoubtedly exposed your own uniqueness. Don't doubt this. If the chief isn't that careful, then there's no way your city of silver can last till this day under such abject environments. Derek's eyes widened, being even more convinced that Mr. Hanged Man was truly knowledgeable, and that what he said made a lot of sense. The chief discovered something abnormal about me, so that's why he had such an attitude when he heard my report. What should I do? What should I do? Derek immediately became nervous and frightened. Noticing his concern, Alger scoffed. However, you don't have to worry about it for now. I just thought about it. Even if your City of Silver's chief found out about your abnormality, he would only suspect that you were possessed by Ammon, that you've been contaminated by him, and wouldn't think of the Tarot Club. You still have time, so you can slowly think of a way to resolve this problem. Derek calmed down a little and honestly said, back then, I really was possessed by Ammon. What? Alger blurted out. He nearly left his seat, taking on a combat stance to fend off any accidents. Audrey and Fours immediately tensed up. Only the gloomy world showed mere surprise. Startled by the reaction of Mr. Hanged Man, Derek quickly added, Mr. Fool discovered it while I was praying. As he spoke, he conjured the scene which Mr. Fool had sent to him back then. Dressed in a pointed hat and a crystal monocle, Ammon's illusory figure was coiled around his spirit body like the ghost of a python. Seeing Justice and Magician trembling from the bottom of their hearts, the Hanged Man immediately pressed on. What happened next? Later, Mr. Fool taught me a ritual. Through the ritual, he sent his angel to purify Ammon's avatar, Derek replied without embellishing or simplifying anything. Angel. The Hanged Man looked in shock at the end of the bronze table. He hurriedly lowered his head, when he realized that his actions were impulsive and impolite. Angel. Audrey was momentarily left dazed.